Hi, my name is Dina Mansour. I just finished my Ph.D. at Birkbeck, University of London. It was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life, really. Currently, I went back to my home country in Egypt, and I'm waiting for my online defense slash WIPA. My PhD project was about institutional entrepreneurship, and what this means is that I researched the different ways that social and commercial and political entrepreneurs changed the settings around them. I applied my project on Egypt as the case study. It was pretty challenging, I can say that very honestly, because the data collection wasn't really straightforward. It was a qualitative project, and I researched. It really entered the realm of political economy and economic theory, and not just entrepreneurship. But again, as I said earlier, it was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. The results that I arrived at, even though it was on my country, they were pretty surprising for me, some good, some bad. I was in Italy the year before I started my project, my PhD. I was invited to do a seminar, and then there I met some very professional and very nice professors that I will never forget. I'll always be thankful to. She helped me understand what is entrepreneurship, especially that I had finished my master's in entrepreneurial marketing, and then I got to know entrepreneurship on an economy level, macroeconomic perspective, basically. What motivated me is that it's really like personal and academic, because Egypt at that time in 2016 was going through an overhaul of, like, the institutions of Egypt were being overhauled. Everything in Egypt was being changed. The new government, they were applying new visions that I, as a youth, was hoping that they would come to life. And this is why entrepreneurship was starting to flourish, and the Egyptian innovators and entrepreneurs, they were starting to attract a lot of funding and investment, and it was really putting Egypt on the map. So this notion of public policy, like, goes down the hierarchy, is no longer really operational, because right now entrepreneurs themselves are also affecting the way that policymakers are formulating and developing frameworks and policies and procedures and regulations. What I really aspire to is that the results of my research, they will help policymakers and investors make sound decisions when they invest in startups and entrepreneurs in emerging countries, specifically in the Middle East, specifically in Egypt. What I think I contributed to, or why my research is novel, is because researching institutional entrepreneurship in countries that are undergoing structural transformation is pretty rare. And in Egypt, after 2016, after the government took a pack of reform decisions, nobody really asked how entrepreneurs are going to affect the policy making arena. Everybody's asking how are the new decisions going to help entrepreneurs promote or innovate new things, but nobody really asked it the other way around. So on a practical level, this was on a research level, that how this is novel, and how my framework and my analytical framework could hopefully be applied to similar emerging countries, like especially in the same region like Morocco or Turkey. But from an industry point of view and a policy point of view, hopefully that those findings are going to help policymakers and investors make sound decisions when they are entering this framework, especially that, as I mentioned earlier, the creative input and the level of education and capacity building is really limited. It's really challenging. But then when you see the numbers and you see the creative output and you see the entrepreneurship and the entrepreneurial product and total entrepreneurial activity, it's pretty interesting that how the Egyptian entrepreneurs are able to produce this from basically nothing. The stakeholders that are going to benefit from my research are the policymakers, the investors, and the entrepreneurs themselves. If they are interested in reading some academic point of views, that how are they themselves, they are contributing to the change of the whole policy making perspective, that how what they are doing, like there are several transportation startups in my country that are honestly changing the way that policymakers are looking at technology, youth, gender mainstreaming, and those are all because of the entrepreneurs, because of the technology that they made millions and millions of Egyptian customers adopt and endorse. So they have changed the business model and the way of thinking that millions of Egyptian customers from all walks of life perceive. So I wish that the Egyptian entrepreneurs and the innovators know how much they have impacted many of the most decision-making authorities and bodies in Egypt. I'm really proud of them. As I said earlier, I'm really academic to the core. I like teaching students, and I mean, when you enter a class, especially at Birkbeck, where there are a lot of adult students, and then you teach them something that they didn't know before. I mean, just in my wildest dreams that maybe 10 years down the line, someone will say, yeah, I remember Dina, and she taught me something that I didn't know earlier. So how the PhD will fit in my career, not only academically, but because I'm aspiring to be a public policy consultant, and I want to work for the decision-making authorities domestically and internationally. You know, mastering a specific research perspective or research angle for about 5 years it's pretty much what you need to be a consultant in this area. And this actually takes me to another point, that how the CIMR has helped me. I've been not only have I attended the workshops and the seminars by the center, but because I'm working there as a research and admin assistant, this has put me on the front line for dealing with policymakers like BEIS and policymakers from different entrepreneurship related and industry related bodies in the UK. Also academics and practitioners from the OECD and the World Bank, the United Nations, different really decision-making and policy and advisory bodies. So the center has really put me on the front line for dealing with and hearing the latest of research and latest of industry trends that are from those practitioners and experts in their respective fields. And this has greatly added to my not only academic experience, but also personal experience, because I see how the other experts, whether they come from a PhD background or not, how they develop themselves to reach such a position that the research has an impact on policy and the other way around.